So in this lesson, we will be discussing what is a parallel line and what is perpendicular line. So if you look at this line, so this line is parallel to this line. So know what is the characteristic of these type of lines. If two lines are parallel, how can we judge this thing from looking at the equation of those lines? Is there any clue in the equation of the line that whether these two lines are parallel or not? So this is what we are going to learn here. So what is the slope of this line? P3, P4. So this has a slope of 1. If we go 1 unit on the left and 1 unit on the on the downward side, it means we are moving in the minus x direction, and then we are going minus 1 in the x and then minus y in the y. So sign is important. So slope is defined as the change in y divided by change in x. So change in y will be negative and change in x will also be negative. So two negative values, negative 1, which is actually 1, because we have we can see that this is 1 unit, divided by minus 1, which is equal to 1, and which can be seen from this. This is m. The coefficient of x is 1. So we can see that this is 1. So now look at this line, equation of this line. What is the slope of this line? So from any 2 points, we can take from this point and we can reach here. So if we go 1 unit on the left and 1 unit on the downward direction, so we can get the slope of this line, and this is exactly the same. So it means two lines which are parallel, they must have the equal slope, otherwise they can't be parallel. And if they have equal slope, they must be parallel lines. So now look at the equation of this line. Y equals x plus 2. So 2 is the y-intercept. And this equation is y is equal to x minus 3. Minus 3 is the y-intercept. So it means now you have one equation, y equals x plus 2, and the other equation, x minus 3. The slope is same. The only differ in y-intercept. So it means if this is going at x equals if this has a y-intercept of 2, this is the y-intercept of 3, they are parallel. So there should be, can you think that there should be another parallel line going from origin? So what do you think? What could be the equation of this line? My drawing is very bad, but this is a straight line. Assume that this is a straight line. And this line is passing through the origin, and this line, this is a straight line, and this line is passing through the origin. So what will be the equation of this line? So the equation of this line will be y equals x plus the y-intercept, which is 0. So it means y equals x. Now look at this equation, any point on this equation, because every point should satisfy this equation. So this is the key point you should always keep in mind. This will help you solving problem. And every point on the line should satisfy the equation of the line, of that line. If a point lies on a line, it should satisfy the equation of the line, and satisfy means that when I put x and y coordinates of that point into that line, the equation of the line should be true. So this means satisfy. Satisfy means it should make the equation of the line true when I put x and y coordinates of that point into the equation of the line. So it means this line has a 0 intercept. So it means the equation of the line is, equation of the line which passes through the origin is y equals x. So it means every point on this line should have both x and y value of the coordinates same. So what is this point? This is 1, 1. What is this point? This is 2 in the x, 2 in the y, 2, 2. So all those points which are on y equals x, they have same x and y coordinates. So therefore, if I put this here, if I put the x coordinate at this point in this equation, x is 1 equals y is 1. If I put the coordinate of this point, x is 2, y is 2. So all those points on this line will have the same x and y coordinates. So now you understand that by looking at the equation of the line y equals x, you can say, okay, oh, this line is passing through origin and it passes like this. So it means every point on the line should have the same x and y coordinate. It goes to infinity, but it still have the same coordinate. This point will be on the line because it has 4x, 4y. So this is the only line which passes through all these points which have same x and y coordinates. So this will... Now what about another line which passes in the same manner but in the opposite direction? What about this line? If I draw another line, a little bit diagonal, but so what do you think, what will be the equation of this line? What will be the equation of this line? So in order to find that, even if you look at any point, for example, if this point, what is the x coordinate of this point? X is equal to minus 1. What is the y coordinate of this point? Y equals 1. Okay, let's move to this point. What is the x coordinate of this point? X equals minus 4. What is the y coordinate of this point? Y equals 4. And now you can find the slope because y-intercept is 0. So we know, for example, this is the equation of this line. Let me write in the blue. This is the equation of this blue line, mx plus c. I got 2 points on the line. So I can find m. So what is m? M equals the difference of the y coordinates. So let us take this point as P1 and this P2. So I am taking this minus this. So 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 divided by minus 4 minus 1. So 4 minus 1 is 3 and minus 4 minus 1 will become plus 1. Minus 4 plus 1 is minus 3. So the slope will be minus 1. So when slope is minus 1, now I can put in the equation, I can say y equals, slope is minus 1, the equation of this line, the blue line, will become y equals minus x plus 0. I don't have to write plus 0. Y equals minus x. So equation of the red line is y equals x and equation of the blue line is y equals minus x. And these two lines are perpendicular. And look at their slopes. If I multiply the slope of the red, for example, the slope of this line is m1, which is 1. And slope of the blue line, I call it m2, which is minus 1. So if I multiply m1 with m2, the answer is minus 1. And this is the property of the perpendicular line. The slope of the two lines which are perpendicular, the product of their slope is always minus 1. So this is the property of perpendicular line. Like in parallel lines, so I can say for two parallel lines, m1 equals m2, their slopes must be same. We have checked this already. Here, this line and this line are parallel. Imagine that if you tilt this x-axis to 45 degree, you reach there, and this y-axis will also be tilted by 45 degree. So x-axis and y-axis are perpendicular, so therefore this red line and blue line will also be perpendicular to each other, and the product of their slopes is minus 1. And this is true for all perpendicular lines. The derivation of this I am not going to do it, this is not required, but the product of the slope of two perpendicular lines is always minus 1. So the slope of two parallel lines is always same, and the product of the slopes of two lines which are perpendicular is always minus 1. So these are the two things you should always keep in mind when dealing. For example, in question it says this is a line and this is a point on another line which is parallel to this line. So sometimes you get questions around these type of knowledge, that whether you know this thing or not. So sometimes you get questions based on this knowledge that you should know that two lines are parallel, their slope should be same, and you will find these type of question in my quiz and in my homework, because we will be doing a lot of this. Now, one last thing I want to highlight in this lecture is so one last thing I want to highlight in this lecture is that we have solved equations. For example, these are two lines. We have the equation y equals minus 2x plus 2, the equation of this line, and the equation of this line is y equals x plus 2. So let us solve these equations. Let us solve these. So how we solve simultaneous linear equation or two linear equations? We just subtract this equation from this one. Just change the sign and subtract. Y minus y is 0. And minus 2x minus x is minus 3x. And plus 2 minus 2 equals 0. So it means minus and minus 0. So it means minus 3x equals 0, and if you divide by 3, so at x equals 0. Okay, now put x equals 0 into any of these equations. For example, I put in this one, the original equation. So y equals x plus 2, I put this here, so y equals 0 plus 2, y equals 2. So if we were solving these two linear equations, so what was our solution? Our solution would be 0, 2, 0x and 2 in the y. So 0, 2 would be our solution. 0 is the value of x, 2 is the value of y. Now look at the intersection of these two lines. These two lines are intersecting at 0 and 2. So what does it mean? It means that the solution of two lines, if you were asked to find out the solution of two lines using graph, you just draw two lines and find out their point of intersection. This point of intersection is the solution of two lines. This is the solution of the equations of two lines, or two lines you can say, because lines have linear equations. These equations are linear equations. Both lines have linear equations in x and y. So the solution of these two equations, if we were solving them mathematically, so this is the mathematical solution, but you can also solve two equations, two straight line or two linear equations, because every linear equation is a straight line equation. So you can also solve these linear equations by using the graph. So graph is so useful. It's a quick method. You can quickly draw the lines, find 2 points, draw the line and find where they intersect and find the coordinates of that point. Very simple. So this line and this line intersecting at this point, what are the coordinates of this point? There is 0x because it's going upward, and 2 is the value of y. So xy is the solution of these two linear equations. So now you know how to find the solution of two straight lines or two linear equations in two variables, in x and y. If the equations are only in x, then of course you can describe it as a special case of a line, but then finding a solution is different. It's easy, it's just one-step solution. Or you can use the balance method or what we were doing in the earlier chapters of this course. But if if there are two simultaneous linear equations in x and y, you can solve those equations using only the graph. Just draw the graph, draw the two straight lines, find the point of intersection. That will be your solution. This is your x and this is your y.